Am I audible properly?
Yes, sir. You
Yes,
are
sir.
audible.
Yes, sir.
Anju, you are recording. You already started, no?
I started the recording, sir.
Yeah. Just make sure that it is getting recorded properly. Okay.
Yes.
We are waiting for Professor Kare to join.
Hello. Hello, Dr. B. Sengupta. How are you?
Hello, sir.
How are you, sir? How are you? I'm fine.
Thank you, sir. Now, Dr. Saha, nice to see you. Namaskar, namaskar. Nice to see you.
Sir, we'll wait for another 2 minutes and then we will
Yeah,
start.
sure.
तो करे साहब नमस्कार
Namaskar, namaskar.
नमस्कार सॉरी आपको सुनाई पहले मैंने अनम्यूट किया तो फिर पता नमस्कार ठीक है ना सर सब ठीक ठाक है सर
जी हाँ सब ठीक है
बहुत बढ़िया सर थैंक यू सर
How is it Calcutta, Dr. Saha? Your mic is mute.
better sir Calcutta is better than Delhi in with respect to air pollution as of now
And
but
what about COVID?
as the wind blows from the north to south
Yeah.
will be polluted but see, that's why I repeatedly telling you are aware you are appreciating that also you should consider the air mass
Yes.
air
Yes.
parcel
Yes.
air shade total northern India is one Indo-Gangetic is another
That's
once
right.
you are pushing from upper the Calcutta will be get polluted sometimes the Banaras will be polluted
Yeah.
so like that it will keep on going and my suggestion was to switch over. Let's not use PM 2.5 as a marker pollutant.
Yeah.
We should not be because we are tropical. We are having hardly 70, 80 days rainfall. Topsoil is alluvial and always loose. And we should switch over to carbon. I used to recommend Parihar Sam always. Let's work NCR and beyond.
Yeah.
Not only Delhi. It will not work.
You are right.
So now that yesterday that's ordinance has come.
Yeah.
And now my next objective is to switch over to black carbon. Because that is only the emission that is we are burning, the carbon is burning.
Yeah.
And we should go for the source apportionment study of the carbon, not PM 2.5.
That's right.
Yeah, so I do not know why we are following everything the European style. We are not fit to adapt everything from there. What is suitable for us, we should go for that.
Yes.
Whatever you do, go for the source apportionment study. Why? It is known. The 5%, 10% variation is there. Culprit is waste. Culprit is our dust. Culprit is our vehicle. Culprit is our agricultural burning. And still we are doing the source apportionment study. What is fun in doing all these things?
Yeah, thank you very much. So we'll start meeting. Good afternoon to all of you, and we are very pleased to invite you to the air quality management lecture series. We started. We had a discussion with Professor Karep, Dr. Sengupta, and other experts in the area of air quality management. We're considering this as one of the prime area for the mankind. So we initiated that we should have an invited lectures in the area of air quality management. So we started the first lecture. Again, we were trying to look at it whom to be invited for the first lecture, and Professor Kare suggested Dr. Sengupta is having a wide experience, and he has been part of this air quality management program for several years, decades of study. So we decided that we should start this lecture series with Dr. Sengupta. So from October this month onwards, we thought we will initiate this, and Dr. Sengupta is a former member secretary, Central Pollution Control Board. He's going to talk about air quality management in India, new initiatives taken during the 2020. Basically, any of this kind of lectures requires some kind of an contribution. So we looked into our department, and then GCRF-Clean Environmental and Planetary Health Asia Network, and we have an Indian International Conference on Air Quality Management. So all of them are joined together with the guidance from Professor Kare, and we thought we will just initiate this one as a part of air quality management awareness program. So I welcome you all to the program. So I'll just brief you about the program, and Professor Kare will give you some details about the air quality management challenges that currently India is facing, and the importance of air quality management lecture series. And then I request Anju to introduce the speaker, and then followed by Sengupta's lecture, and then we will have an question answer sessions at the end, and then we will move forward to the next month lecture. So now I'll request Professor Mukesh Kare. Again, he is another pioneer in the air quality management as research. So I request Professor Kare to say a few words about air quality management lecture series.
Thank you, Professor Shivanagedra. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to share my experience with the eminent persons like Dr. B. Sengupta, whom I know for last 30 years, or more than 25 years. He is a very experienced person, and he is a good administrator, and having a vast technical knowledge in the area of not only air quality, but all the environment. So I'm really pleased to share my experience with him and get more learning from persons like B. Sengupta and Dr. Saha as well, whom I know also for last 20 years, who has worked a lot in the area of air quality. So let's come with the air quality management, which in India is quite in fancy stage at the moment. So designing and implementing an effective air quality management program relies on understanding the issues affecting the region, raising the awareness, which is very important element, and collecting data, and also at last the building capacity. So the principal element of any air quality management are the comprehensive monitoring network, very, very basic principal element that may include not only reference stations, but looking at the need of today's air quality management, it also should include the sensor-based instruments. The second element is the identification of sources, followed by describing formation mechanism and prediction and forecasting of the air quality. And then at last, not the least, the impacts on human health and sensitive ecology. However, one element which is always missing in the air quality management framework presently in India is the public participation in all these elements which I have just described. That is a very important element which is missing at present. There is some portion, some percentage of public participation which takes place presently, which I have seen my experience in environmental appraisal committees memberships, is in the EIA. There it exists. But if you see towards the environmental management, including air quality, I think this is missing. Now, why I'm saying it's an important element, it's an important component of all the elements, is that the public participation involves actively seeking and responding to input from citizens and enabling meaningful involvement in decision-making process. At the moment, decision-making is taking place with the regulators, and public participation is minimal. So air quality management is the collective responsibility. We should define the air quality management in terms of the collective responsibility, not only of the regulators, but also of the individuals, communities, businesses, organizations, institutions, and the governments that include regulators. Looking at this, the public participation should be viewed as integral to effective air quality management. That is my plea and my thoughts, that it should be an integral part of the AQM. Now, citizens have greater access to information. That everybody knows, because every area, if you go to Delhi or Calcutta or anywhere else, every citizen know what are the sources, major sources in their own language in this area. So that's what I'm saying. The citizens have greater access to information on any pollution sources, and they are demanding to be more involved at early stage. So that required that they should be involved at early stage and up to the policy making process, right from the early stage to the policy making processes. And it is not very difficult, but nowadays the data are available through internet. A lot of devices are available, and people can very easily access to those data and determine the sources of local pollution. So that is not very difficult now. And by this, citizens can use the information to influence the governmental policies, entities, and industry directly. Now, to do that, education is very important. So educating the public and ensuring their participation in the air quality management process is a critical aspect of governmental responsibility. How the people can be motivated, how they can be educated, how they can be aware, that should be the responsibility of the government. To the institutions, even academic institutions, they should work with the government and try to evolve some sort of a framework. The air quality has a tremendous impact on sensitive population. And these populations need to understand how they are affected, by which sources they are affected, how they can minimize these impacts. Various questions are there. How they can influence decision makers that please help us. So all these things will benefit the society at large. So this is my experience and my thoughts on the air quality management. And I'm really glad that for the October month, Professor Shiva Nagendra, under this program of CEPHA, the lecture series have been started on the air quality management, and we have an excellent speaker, Dr. B. Sengupta, the former member secretary, the Central Pollution Control Board, India, to talk on air quality management in India, the new initiatives taken during 2020. This AQML series is jointly organized by the Department of Civil Engineering, IIT Madras, GCRF-Clean Environment and Planetary Health in Asia Network, and India International Conference on Air Quality Management, that is IICAQM. This lecture series is first of its kind in India. That is, I congratulate Professor Nagendra for organizing this lecture series, which is a dire need of India these days in managing the air quality. And it will serve, I'm sure, it will serve as an important forum for the young researchers, scientists, engineers, educators, industrialists, and practitioners to learn the latest advancement in theories, technologies, and application in the area of air quality management. We will invite key professionals working in this area of air quality management for our AQML lecture series. I hope that all the attendees will enjoy this lecture from Professor Dr. B. Sengupta. So thank you very much again, and I hand over to Professor Shiva Nagendra to take this initiative further. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Kare, for the nice setting the scene for air quality management lecture series. We are very honored to see many eminent persons who are working in an air quality management. Very thankful to all of you. Now I request Dr. Hanju Elizabeth to introduce the speaker.
Thank you, Professor Shiva. So I'm very honored to introduce our speaker, Dr. B. Sengupta, to this talk. So he's very well known and expert in this air quality, not only in air quality and environmental engineering field also. So Dr. Sengupta is an environmental scientist, worked in Central Pollution Control Board, Ministry of Environment and Forest, Government of India for more than 30 years in different capacity. He was the member secretary of the CPCB for more than 10 years. He also worked in University of Florida on air quality management and control. He has vast experience in the field of air and water quality management, industrial pollution control, standard development, environmental impact assessment studies, fuel quality improvement, clean technology, waste minimization, pollution prevention issues, pollution control, climate change, hazardous and solid waste management. He represented India in many international meetings, seminars, workshops organized by international bodies like UNEP, US EPA, WHO. Dr. Sengupta has published more than 250 technical reports while working in the CPCB, and also published more than 50 papers in national and international peer-reviewed journals. He also guided several MTech and PhD students of IIT Delhi, JNU, and Delhi University. So that's the brief biography. We know that it's not easy to describe as a prominent person, but we are welcoming you, sir, to this excellent talk, and we are welcoming you all attendees to enjoy this talk and get benefit from it. So thanks to you, and I hand over to Professor Shiva, sir.
Thank you, Anju, for the introduction. Now I'll just hand over the forum to the Sengupta. We are all looking to your talk, sir.
Thank you, Professor Shiva Nagendra. And thank you also, Professor Mukesh Khare, for your kind introduction about the subject. And my colleague, Dr. Shaha, Dr. Tyagi, and other my ex-colleagues of CPCB. This is my proud privilege to give this talk before all the learned people on the air quality management in India. What are the new initiatives taken in the recent years by Government of India? I will give my views on this, mostly what we are doing and what we should do and what are the perspective of this. I will start with various laws and regulations which we have in the country for air quality management. And if you see for air quality, there are Air Pollution Control Act 1981, which is very important one. And I remember those days in CPCB when the Air Pollution Control Act was formulated by our former chairman, Dr. Nilay Chaudhary, and Dr. G.T. Agarwal was our consultant at that time. And they together, along with Professor Biswas from Ministry of Environment at that time, they have used to work on this drafting of this Air Pollution Control Act 1981. And I was associated and assisting them. And I've seen how meticulously they have framed each and every section of this Air Pollution Control Act 1981. Later on, when we enacted the Environmental Protection Act 1986, most of the things we have taken from the Air Pollution Control Act 81 and Water Pollution Control Act 1974. Those provisions are same repeated in the 1986 Environmental Protection Act. And if you see the new commission, which is set up yesterday, that the Commission on Air Quality Management in National Capital Region and adjoining areas ordinance, if you see the various sections, these are also taken from our parent Air Pollution Control Act 1981. More or less same thing is repeated. That means the authorities and the government has a lot of faith on the Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981, which is I called a mother act. Everything is given for the air pollution control in this Air Pollution Control Act 1981. How to do the control, how to do the manage, how to do the monitoring, what is the responsibility of the CPCB, what is the responsibility of the SPCB, how to prepare action plan, everything is given. Unfortunately, we are in the country are not going thoroughly this Air Pollution Control Act and EP Act 1986 while framing our policies. So I will come to that later on. But for air pollution, if you see, there are many laws and regulations we have made, starting with Air Act, then EP Act, then the Ambient Air Quality Standard 3 times we have modified that. Then there are so many other things which I will come later on. This is the new ordinance which is Commission for Air Quality Management, National Capital Region. I will just deal with this, what are the important section of this and how we are going to achieve we are planning to achieve the air quality with the help of this commission. Now you can see some of the things I want to explain to you. This is my perspective. Some of the experts may not agree or agree, I don't know. But the air pollution in our country is a localized problem. It is more in the major cities like Delhi, Kolkata, Mumbai, Bengaluru, Kanpur, Chennai, Hyderabad, where there are high density of the vehicles is number one you have to keep in mind. And also the places where the ventilation coefficient is low. As you know, the ventilation coefficient is mixing height, average mixing height into average wind speed. The area where the ventilation coefficient is low, air pollution is very high because the pollution is trapped in that layer. So these are the Ganga basin, some of the states from starting from Punjab up to West Bengal. We are facing this problem during the winter months, especially the winter nights when the mixing height is going as low as 50 meters and wind speed is almost zero. That is the 1.8 kilometer per hour or 0.5 meters per second. So that ventilation coefficient become very low, pollutions are trapped in that layer and concentration become very low. It is up to the early morning at around 8 o'clock or so when the inversion break up and then pollution start decreasing. So we have to keep this thing in mind that the meteorology plays a very important role in air pollution things. Then the critically polluted area like your Singrauli, Korba, Ankleshwar, Chembur, all over India, there are 44 areas which have been identified by CPCB as critically polluted area. There are pollution due to the industrial pollution. For example, in Singrauli, where it is the coal belt in our country, where we are generating about 20,000 megawatt of the coal-based power. We are burning every day about 150,000 tons of coal there. So there is obviously there is a pollution level will be high. Take the case of Ankleshwar, where about 3,500 chemical industries are there and thousands of tons of solvents are used. And this is creating a lot of air pollution problem with respect to VOCs and other pollutants. So these are the three main categories you can classify where the air pollution is high. One is that the major cities due to the large number of vehicles, ventilation coefficient low, the places like the Ganga basin states, and third is the critically polluted area. Then other areas where the pollution level is very low compared to, and if you see that the most of the places, it is more than 70% of Indian landmass, if you take, that the air pollution is very low, low to very low. These are the northeast states or the Himalayan states and then coastal cities and the southern states, etc. and the places where the ventilation coefficient is high. Then the small cities and towns like Chandigarh or Mysore, etc., we are not getting very high pollution. And the northeast state, full north of states, forest areas, coastal areas are more or less the air pollution is very low. So it is very wrong to classify by some of the people as the whole India is very polluted is wrong. If you put in a map, I will show you that you can see the more than 70% of the land area in the air pollution is low. Only 30% or more, which are highlighted in the third slide, air pollution is high. So due to the 30% area which is high air pollution, we cannot classify whole country, picture the whole country as India as air polluted. Nowadays, Western media is propagating this thing that whole India is very polluted, people should not go there. There are so many issues, but it's not correct what I mean to say. If you see the air quality issue in our country, we have the 17 categories of highly polluting industry. That is the CPCB have identified. There are large number of SSI units like brick kilns, the lime kilns, the stone crushers, the sponge iron plant, etc. We have a large number of coal-based power stations, about 210,000 megawatt, about 101 coal-based power stations are there. And there are emission control with respect to SO2 and NOx are not there. So there are emission of SO2 which is quickly converted to sulfate and nitrate. And this become the part of the particulate matter. That we have to understand that the high PM 2.5 which we are getting are also contributed by the sulfate and nitrate which is present in the atmosphere due to conversion of the SO2 and NOx. So we have to clear in our mind. Then 90 million tons of iron and steel plants where the toxic emissions from the coke oven plants, sinter and SMS plants are there, which are creating problem in the critically polluted area. For example, in the area where like Durgapur, where large number of steel plants are there, like Bokaro or Bhilai, where we are getting the steel plants, and the steel plants itself is a huge pollution is contributed. Then we have the large refineries. We are in the country, we have the largest refinery in the world is located in our country, and the smallest refinery in the world is also located in our country. So we have to see that but the refineries are doing very well with respect to pollution control. We have the large number of DG sets. I think this is a very important contributor of the air pollutants like the DG sets. And this we have to keep in the mind that we have to improve our power situation so that the usage of DG sets are reduced. Then we have the small scale industry like large number of brick kilns and other small scale industry. There are about 5 lakhs of the small scale industry which are air polluting in nature as per the CPCB estimates. Then we have the sources like air pollution due to the burning of waste at MSW dump site. If you visit any MSW dump sites, you can see that the fire is on and that pollution is, the plume is there and the pollutions are coming. Pollution are there because there are a lot of rubber burning and plastic burning are going on at MSW dump sites by the rag pickers. So that is another source of major pollution. And Dr. Mukesh Khare has rightly mentioned that the mixed sources of pollution in the major cities in our country. Then the industrial waste like plastic, waste, rubber, etc. are burned illegally in many parts of the country. This is, I think, one of the also very important sources where the source apportionment study which the IITs have done. It is coming that the waste burning, plastics and waste rubber, etc. are creating a lot of air pollution. Then the second component is the vehicular air pollution. Unfortunately, in our country, there is uncontrolled growth of the vehicles. We have, for example, in Delhi itself now more than 1 crore of vehicles, and out of that 1 crore, about 60 to 70 lakhs vehicles are on road. 70%, 70 to 75% vehicles are two-wheelers. It is all over India picture, and Delhi it is more. Delhi it is 75 to 80% of vehicles are two-wheelers. So we have to give a lot of attention to the two-wheelers, and government has taken a very right step that most of the two-wheelers will be converted to electric vehicles, electric two-wheelers, and with zero emission, and government will give the incentive to them for to the people to buy the electric two-wheelers. That will certainly reduce the pollution. Vapor recovery system at petrol pumps as well as in vehicles. Now the petrol pumps, we are able to put some of the, especially in NCR, Delhi, thanks to Central Pollution Control Board, that the vapor recovery system are being installed. But all over India, picture is very grim. We don't put the vapor recovery system. That is the sources of uncontrolled VOC and benzene emission. And you should know that benzene and VOCs are proved carcinogens. So we are unnecessary adding lot of carcinogenic pollutants in the atmosphere. And if you see the benzene data which is published by DPCC every day, it is showing the very high values. It is more than 5 microgram per meter cube, which is the standard prescribed by CPCB. The benzene levels are quite high. So if I check the data of the benzene in Mumbai and other places also, similar high benzene data are coming. Fuel adulteration in petrol pumps, that is very common, especially in eastern part of the country, and that is creating a lot of air pollution problem as well as the vehicle maintenance, etc. Black carbon soot emission from old commercial vehicles, in the trucks, buses, etc. And our many cities, during night time, all these trucks are entering for the goods movement. And they are because these are old commercial vehicles, Bharat Stage 2 vehicles, they are emitting a lot of unburned carbon in their tailpipe emission. That is contributing a lot. And you know that during night time, there is a low inversion, the mixing height is very low. So all these black soot, black carbon emission from the vehicles, especially the trucks, are trapped in that low mixing height zone and creating a lot of air pollution problem the whole day. PUC system, which we have, we are, for example, in Delhi itself, we have more than 3,500 PUC system. And I'm very sorry to say this is not serving any purpose for any vehicular pollution control. We should have the comprehensive instruction maintenance program, which CPCB and the NITI Aayog and the Planning Commission repeatedly mentioned that we should, for in-use vehicular emission control on-road vehicles, that we should have an integrated UC system. Other air polluting sources we should not forget. The large number of crematorium using wood for the heating. I am giving overall Indian picture. In Delhi now, most of the crematorium are shifted to electrical, and the Kolkata, the very good work has been done. They put all the air pollution control system like back filter or scrubber, etc. in crematorium. All the things are happening, but there are all over India picture is very grim. There are large quantity of woods are burned in the crematorium, creating lot of air pollution. Agriculture residue burning, it is all over India, it is there due to the various reasons I will come later on. It is estimated that 3 million tons of agriculture residue and stubble are burned, especially during winter months. Air pollution from roadside dhabas, small eateries using coal briquette as fuel. So these are very common. And recently NEERI has come out with a study in the Delhi where the contribution of dhabas on the air pollution, especially in the winter months, are significantly high, because these dhabas still are using the coal or coke or some dirty fuels for their running their tandoor and other things. Resuspension of dust as on road due to the low moisture in soil, especially during summer months. I think this is very important, and this is the responsible for the during the lockdown period. Whatever the values of PM10 and PM2.5 coming, I think is a resuspension of dust and contributed by this a lot. Emission from large number of DG set, I have explained to you. Adverse meteorological condition is very important. During the winter months, November to February, low mixing height observed in northern India. Low wind speed, almost calm condition exists during winter months. And therefore there is no dispersal of pollution. Ventilation coefficient is an important factor, and the migration of coarse dust. This is also very important, and recently I have seen the study done by IITs on the migration of coarse dust from the Thar desert to northern India is also there. So we should not forget that there is a long range transport of the pollutants are also there. These are the pollutants and its effects. We cannot consider only the criteria pollutant. We should also consider the pollutants like hazardous air pollutant, especially in the critically polluted area where the chemical industries are located, like Ankleshwar, Vapi, Sachin, Panoli, etc., where thousands and thousands of tons of solvents are used, which is generating a lot of hazardous air pollutant, including DOCs and methylene dioxide, methylene oxide. I think Pollution Control Board is not giving enough importance to the hazardous air pollutant and VOCs. I think we are focusing only on criteria polluted, and that too on the PM2.5. But we are not considering the hazardous air pollutants, which are also very critical, and because this health impact is very, very serious, because these are mostly these hazardous air polluted are cancer causing chemicals. So we have to, I think next phase of the work, I think we should start with the development of standards for HAPs, then air pollution control action plan for these HAPs, etc., especially in the areas where the large number of chemical industries are located. Then we have the oxidizing pollutant like sulfate and ozone, depositing pollutants, then our reduced sulfur compounds, the mercaptans and etc., which are giving the smell. Then we have the climate forces. So these are the various type of pollutants which their health effects are also there. The secondary pollutant formation is also very important. In the atmosphere, it reacts, like that sulfate, nitrate are formed, ammonium is formed, ozone is formed as a secondary pollutant, polyaromatic hydrocarbons and PAH are formed, and these are also giving a lot of health effects of this. So I think we should primary pollutants, and we should also consider the secondary pollutants, which is formed in the atmosphere due to the reaction in the atmosphere due to presence of sunlight and others. Now the air pollution problem, if you see that we have the metro cities, 126 non-attainment cities identified by CPCB. And now the problem is that because we have the limited monitoring capability, wherever we have not covered the whole country, and we have covered the limited, we have only the 740 manual air quality monitoring stations, and I'm very sorry to say out of these 740, hardly 70% stations we are not monitoring PM2.5. We are monitoring only PM10. PM 2.5 is still, after the standards came 11 years after, we are still not monitoring PM 2.5, and the international studies, what they are doing, they are taking the PM 10 value, and PM 2.5 is extrapolated figures. And that is giving a wrong impression that PM 2.5 is also very high. And on basis of that, they are giving the figures that the health concerns and the health effects and the people dying due to the air pollution based upon those extrapolated data. I think that is very important that all the existing monitoring stations, we should start proper monitoring of PM 2.5. Then the metro cities, in 126 non-attainment cities, we have the major sources are vehicular pollution, then small scale industry, biomass burning, etc. And the pollutant, of course, is the PM 2.5, NOx, carbon monoxide, and benzene. Then we have the critically polluted area and severely polluted area, 43 and 44. The dominant sources are the power plant, refineries, chemical plants, etc. And I'm very happy to say that in critically polluted area, a lot of work has been done. And I have personally visited some of the areas like Chandrapur and Ankleshwar, etc. The last 5-6 years, a lot of improvement has taken place. If you do the proper monitoring now, you will find that these critically polluted area pollution levels are reduced considerably. Then the rural areas, the indoor air pollution is one of the important things. Outdoor air pollution and pollutants like VOCs, etc. are there. Now we have the lot of rules, regulation, guidelines are there on the air pollution control. The Mother Act is Air Pollution Control Act 1981, EP Act 1986. Then we have notified the industry-specific emission standard under Air Act. Although it is the responsibility of the State Pollution Control Board, but CPCB has done about 56 categories of industry. The emission standards have been developed, notified by Ministry of Environment and Forest. The ambient air quality standard, which is the sole responsibility of CPCB under section 16(2)H, have been notified, declared, notified, evolved by CPCB. First in 1982, then again in 1995, and recent one is 2009. Again, I think CPCB is thinking to revise those standards again, based upon the current knowledge and experience which we have. Then the fuel quality standard, and for transportation fuel, I think Bharat stage, we have started with Bharat stage 1, 2, 3, 4, and then now 6. Bharat stage 5 we have skipped, and we have a Bharat stage 6 standards which is being enforced now. So there is a lot of improvement in our fuel quality. We have started with sulfur content in our diesel as high as more than 1500 ppm, and now we are talking about only 10 ppm. So there are a lot of improvement. Benzene reduction out there. Lead we are totally phased out. So there are a lot of good work has been done. Coal beneficiation and fly ash management. So these are the rules are there which we are properly enforcing. Challenges for industrial air pollution control are the critically polluted area based upon CEPHA index. I think CEPHA has been developed by IIT Delhi. I think we must congratulate Professor Khare and Professor Nima for this. I think there is very good approach, but I think the time has come we should review this one. Then 126 non-attainment cities based upon exceedance of the criteria pollutant. Then air pollution control from coal-based power plants, steel plants, refineries, cement plant. Cement plant, I think I will special emphasize that the cement plant is a super incinerator, and it can take care of many waste, both hazardous waste and non-hazardous waste, towards the increasing the thermal substitution rate by co-processing of the waste. So I think our TSR rate is lowest in the world. It is less than 5%. And if you see the developed country, it is varying from 40 to 70% TSR rate. So there are enough scope that whatever the waste we are burning haphazardly, that should we'll collect it and properly dispose in the cement plant through the co-processing route. That will give very good idea about the non-point source emission control from the Indian atmosphere. Then air pollution control from 17 categories. CPCB has very big program about this. And then air pollution control from brick kilns and other SSI units. There are, I think CPCB is promoting the zigzag technology for the brick kilns, the stone crushers, And all the small scale industry, the pollution prevention technologies already have been developed that is being implemented. Other sources of air pollution, DG sets, as I mentioned, is one. Power plant based on agriculture residue as fuel. RDF from MSW. That is where a lot of scope is there. We can convert this MSW to RDF, and which is happening now in country and in place like Delhi. And this RDF can be used as a fuel in the cement plant. Then control of dust emission from construction activities. Already the C&D management guidelines have been issued by MOEF. And the declaration of approved fuel in CPA. I think this is gaining momentum. We have started this thing for Delhi long ago. And now I've seen the many states are now declaring the approved fuel and putting restriction on some of the polluting fuel like petroleum coke or for furnace oil or rubber, etc. They're putting a ban. So that is a very good approach, a control of pollution at source. Method of air pollution control which we are following, one is that the ambient air quality standard, that is our guideline that we have set targets. We want to achieve these air quality targets. And because there is no other target, so we are keeping that air quality standard, ambient air quality standard is our target. That is the Clean Air Action Plan. We have set this target. Then emission limits, emission standards with certification test. I think, as I mentioned, that CPCB has evolved those standards. MOEF has notified those standards under EPAC, and State Pollution Control Board are using those standards, putting as a condition in the CTE and CTO, which is a legal document for the industry to comply those emission limit. But there are a lot of gaps are there, which I'll come later on. But emission limits and emission control requirements, sometimes we give the requirement of the pollution control also, and that is based upon the best available technology, lowest achievable emission technologies, which CPCB's Peer and Core Committee is considering while evolving the standards. Product design specifications. Then now we are talking about the emission fees and fines. I think CPCB has come out with the compensation policy now based upon the NGT directives, and those policies, the environmental compensation are being imposed now. Emission caps and trading, there's another important area which we are working. Fuel specification, and that is very important for the solid fuels, for the liquid fuels, and all the fuel specifications are there. We have given the transportation fuel specifications, coal quality specifications are there. And now recently the Honorable Prime Minister has come out with a policy that the coal gasification and IGCC route power generation, that is very important. We have enough reserve for the coal. We should not waste those coal, because so there are a lot of scope for the coal gasification and coal to oil policies, and our industries are working on this. And for that, we can convert this coal to the gas, and this gas can be used for power, for industrial use and power generation. Vehicle inspection and maintenance, that is another important one. Congestion pricing, this is another approach which is followed in Delhi at least. Energy efficiency requirement. I think this is a very important one, and there is scope, a lot of scope are there for energy efficiency improvement in our almost every sector. If you do that, then indirectly we are controlling the pollution, because the pollution load will be decreased. For example, in energy efficiency in power sector, we can save about 5,000 to 7,000 megawatt of power, extra generation, if you do only the energy efficiency. This type of feasibilities are there in the steel sector, power sector, coal cement sector, then paper and pulp sector, refinery sector, where we can indirectly control the pollution by increasing the energy efficiency. The demonstration reasonably progress. Monitoring network, as I mentioned, that we have more than 700 manual stations, and the continuous monitoring station is now more than 200. But unfortunately, in the manual stations, we are not monitoring all the parameters. Few parameters only we are monitoring, but the online continuous monitoring, we are doing almost all the pollutants now. That is very healthy thing, especially in Delhi. The 38 air quality monitoring station, online air quality monitoring station, we are monitoring almost all the parameters, and that is giving very good results. And the CPCB is coming out with the pollution index every day. So you can see this is important. This is a very important one. You can see that the pollution levels are increasing during the winter months, October to December, and we are getting very good air from April to August. We can get a good quality of air. It is all over India. You can see the CPCB has published this report data that gives that something is wrong in winter months. And I mentioned as the winter months, because the low mixing height and low wind speed, the pollution rises there. So this is the one of the important things, that the meteorology plays a very important role for the high air pollution. We have a air quality index. I think I will not quickly. You see that during the December, when the peak air pollution problem, you can see that the haze and the black smoke and the level of pollution, you can see the whole in the country. There are red zones are there where it's very poor to severe and this thing because mostly due to the PM 2.5 or so. And during the, you can see that during the lockdown period, how the air became clean. You can see that we can see the India Gate from a distance of 1 kilometer, and that are very clear things. So you can, and these are the air quality index also during the lockdown period. I've taken April data where you can see that air quality is more or less satisfactory. That means, and another important one is the low mixing height is the data. You can see that during the night time, 7 a.m. to say 11 to 12, there are mixing height is very, very low, and it is started increasing during the daytime and again coming in the low in the evening time. So evening and night and early morning are very critical for the North India. So these are the online data of mixing height is now available. This I think while interpreting the air quality data, we should consider the mixing height data now. This is the baseline level of pollutant, April to May 2020, when the total lockdown period was there. So CPCB, DPCC and other agencies have done extensive monitoring, and I've taken this data from IITM, DPCC and CPCB. You can see the baseline level of PM10 is 38 plus minus 8 microgram per meter cube, and PM 2.5 is 22 plus minus 6. That means there was almost in all the industries were closed, only very few vehicles are on the road. Then the levels of pollution, if it is PM 2.5 is 22 plus minus 6, then we have to think it over from where these pollutants are coming. There are 3-4 sources are there. One is that the resuspension of dust. Already our loose soil are there. Whenever something is moving, the dust become airborne, and the dust which is suspended become again resuspended. Then the long range transport, like for example, the coal-based power station were working during the lockdown period also. So there are maybe some impact of that, long range transport of pollution. So these are some of the sources. And also the dhabas and small eateries where during the lockdown period also the operation is on. So they might have contributed some pollutants. So we have to consider while framing the policies that the background level of pollution is still PM 2.5 is 22 to plus minus 6. So we have to consider that thing while framing the national air quality standard and also our framing all the policies. This is a very important slide issued by Urban India now. So you can see that in the left of picture that red area shows the high level of pollution, and the dark green, if you see the Himalaya region or northeast state, is a dark green. That is a very pure air. And southern states and middle India are quite respectively relatively good for air quality. These are based upon 10 years data, 1990-2014 is plotted, and you can see that although the last 10 years the pollution levels have increased, but still in the southern part of the country, the central part of the country, the northeast part of the country, the Himalayan area, I have estimated is more than 70% of the landmass area. The air quality is good, better and good. We cannot say it's bad with respect to PM 2.5 even. So, and only the low mixing height area, that is the Ganga Basin state from Punjab to West Bengal, I think there are some pollution problems are there, especially during the night time and especially during the winter months. So another important thing is that which the IITs have done the study, the physico-chemical characteristics. What are this PM10 and PM2.5 constitutes? You can see that the man-made contribution of PM10 is only 62 to 68%. Although we have to further define it, the secondary particles and the combustion-related total carbon and the chloride, which is coming out from the MSW burning, totally contributing about 68%. That means 32% of the pollution are not man-made sources. That is proven during the lockdown time period, that lot of contribution from the other sources are there. If you see the PM 2.5, sorry, if you see the PM 2.5, still the same type of pictures are coming. The man-made contribution is about 61.5%. Rest are non-man-made. So this is very important findings, which the IITs and NEERIs during our source apportionment study giving these findings, and we should use these things for our policy formulation for air quality management. There are recent publications on that. They are telling that the fourth largest killer, global ranking of risk factors by total number of deaths from all causes, is the air pollution is fourth largest. So we have to give this thing why this is happening, that the fourth largest killer in the country, in the whole world, is air pollution. So we have given a lot of importance to the air pollution control now. So this is the percentage distribution of PM 2.5 Delhi during winter months. You can see that the OC, EC, chloride, nitrate, sulfate are major contributor metals. This thing I have already spoken, but this is really reconfirmed that the Dr. Shaha's view also, that the carbon basis our approach should be there, and organic carbon and elemental carbon are one of the important things which to be considered while framing the policy for the air quality management. Our air quality standards started in 1984. The first air quality standards were notified by CPCB in 1982 to 84, and the second one in 1995, and the 2009, the final last one came. These are the standards. We have taken 12 parameters. We have given the short-term standard. We have given the long-term standard. We have given the method of measurement also. So these are based upon the lot of studies which have been done by CPCB. For every pollutant, we have prepared the air quality criteria document. And I remember that this is not a 1-2 day study. It is a 4-year study. We have a very big committee constituted in CPCB under Professor J.M. Dave. All the IITs were represented, all the NEERIs and all the industry association, all the ministries, planning commission, everybody was represented in this group for framing the air quality standards. And after the basis of 4-year study, these standards have been developed. Steps taken to control so far by the in the country. Emission standard for major air polluting industries have been developed by CPCB. Although this is the responsibility under the Air Act to the SPCB, but CPCB has developed and MOEF has notified the standard under the EP Act, and the SPCBs are taking this standard as a part of the CTO, consent to operate, giving to the state industry for implementation. So emission standard development is one of the very important roles CPCB is playing. That ambient air quality standard, as I mentioned, that is the sole responsibility. Now that these standards have been developed based upon the health impact study. Now the time has come that we should give the other consideration also. Health impact is the sole factor for the development of standard, because in our Ambient Air Act 1981, it is mentioned that our standard should be based upon health impact. But also it is mentioned that we should take care of the agriculture and monuments and other properties also impact of air pollution while framing the standards. And also now, based upon now current situation, we should also consider the meteorological factors while framing the ambient air quality standards. Manual monitoring, we are doing a large number of stations, continuous monitoring also, declaration of critically polluted area. Then development of the emission standard for vehicles. Now up to BS6, we have the standards. Now we are coming off the PM 2.5 and PM 10 and the BS6 standards. Pollution prevention technologies are being developed for the small scale industries. These are the list of the critically polluted area. And if you can see, there are a large number of industrial area where a lot of improvement has taken place. I can vouch for the Ankleshwar or Chandrapur or Korba or the Singrauli, etc., where during last 4 or 5 years, lot of improvements have been made. And if you now do the proper monitoring and health impact study, you can see that there are the cases are there where we can take out from this critically polluted area these things. These are the other areas. Fuel and vehicular pollution control is another area where the lot of actions have been taken, like BS4 norms for vehicles and fuel implemented. Now we are talking about BS6. Pollution under control certificates make mandatory now, but it is not very effective, as I mentioned. We have to do a comprehensive inspection of inspection and maintenance program. Independent fuel testing laboratory. This is the Honorable Supreme Court directives are there to check the fuel adulteration. Government of India has set up 2 independent fuel testing laboratory and to check the quality of fuel which is being supplied by our petrol pumps. Thrust on clean transportation fuel. I think a lot of things are happening. We are talking about the CNG. We are not talking about the SCNG. That the 50 buses are running on the Delhi now on the hydrogen CNG, and there is a 20% reduction if compared with the CNG vehicles. The emissions are there in HCNG. So now we are talking about electric vehicles. We are talking about the biofuels based vehicles. So a lot of things are happening on the clean transportation fuel. And we are now focusing on the criteria pollutants. We are moving towards the HAPs, the hazardous air pollutant. These are the number of vehicles increased over the years. You can see that if you compare with the 2014 and 2030, there are more than 100% increase of the vehicle population will be there, unless we shift. As per the government policy, the 30% of vehicles on the electric vehicles, there is a huge problem. We are anticipating if we allow the vehicles on petrol and diesel, especially diesel, during this whole expansion program, then there's a huge problem. So we have to see this thing to be checked, and the government is rightly doing the more electric vehicles on the vehicles fleet. If you see the fuel thing, still we are using more diesel than petrol because the diesel are used by the commercial vehicles. Commercial movement of the trucks and the heavy duty vehicles are all on diesel, and the diesel consumptions are high, and you know the diesel are more polluting in nature. So diesel vehicles are generating more polyaromatic hydrocarbons and other carbon portion of in their emissions, and also that is the reason for that we should move out from the diesel to either gasoline or the CNG and HCNG type of things. This is proven for the emission factors, which is developed by CPCB with ARAI. You can see that the diesel vehicles and the contribution of PM compared to passenger car with the petrol. The petrol passenger cars is emitting about 0.006 grams per kilometer compared to the diesel, which is as high as 0.48 grams per kilometer. That is a many-fold time the increase of the particulate matter in case of diesel. So this is a very important one. So that is why the diesel vehicles are more polluting, and we should slowly phase out the diesel vehicles if you want to improve the air quality. This is the again proving this slide is important. If you not control the diesel emission, the first slide, which is the total black, is the uncontrolled diesel exhaust, and the right hand side, the white one, is the if you retrofit with the diesel particulate filter. So the vehicles, the heavy duty vehicles, the commercial trucks and buses, if they are not able to use the clean fuel, then there's another option is that the retrofit with the diesel particulate filter, and that is a easy option for control of the black soot emission from the diesel vehicles if you go for the diesel particulate filter, the retrofitting of the diesel particulate filter. We have done a lot of work on the gasoline improvement. As I mentioned, that the sulfur is reduced from 1000 ppm to 10 ppm now. We have reduced the aromatic content. We have reduced the sulfur. We have totally eliminated from our petrol. Similarly, for diesel, there's a lot of improvements out there. Sulfur is reduced from 2000 ppm to 10 ppm. That is a great achievement. I think this credit goes to the Honorable Supreme Court, which they have in one stroke, they have approved the fuel policy of the CPCB and directed the refineries to come out with the clean fuel with respect to low sulfur, low petrol, low lead, low benzene. I think I remember those days when Honorable Supreme Court used to monitor the fuel quality, especially the transport fuel quality in our country. These are the vehicular emission control thing, the pollution load reduction. You can see that how from Bharat Stage 2, where the emission was as high as 8 grams per kilometer, we have come out with the Bharat Stage 6, which is emitting only 0.46 grams per kilometer. So there is tremendous improvement in the oxides of nitrogen and the particulate matter emission control. But only problem is that the number of vehicles have increased on road, and that is creating the problem now. Otherwise, the per unit emission control are tremendous. If you compare with the Bharat Stage 1 to Bharat Stage 6, there are a lot of improvements are there. These are what are the measures we have taken for Bharat Stage 6. I will just skip on. Best available technology for inspection and maintenance. We have given this thing in our Niti Aayog report recently, and Niti Aayog is taking a lot of action on this to introduction of the comprehensive inspection and maintenance program for the pollution control from the on-road vehicles. Gaps in implementation of various provisions of Air Pollution Control Act. I think these are the things which I think we should address now. One of the important thing is that till recently, we have not set up any of our targets. We formulated the Air Pollution Control Act in 1981, but there was no limit has been set when we are going to meet the ambient air quality standard. Now only the latest one is the NCAP, in which they have given a target that a 20 to 25% reduction of PM 2.5 in 2024. That is the pollution load reduction. We expect that the new commission will come out with a new targets, especially at least for Delhi NCR, that within say 3 years or 4 years, how best the air quality will improve or air pollution load reduction should be there. So unless we give a target to the regulatory bodies, we are not getting the good results. The calibration of air quality monitoring instruments. I think this is very important one, and always I am telling, because I have some field experience about this poor situation in our country, both for the manual stations and the online continuous monitoring stations, especially the stations which are outside Delhi, as Delhi NCR. There are huge issues about the quality control and the calibration protocol, non-following the calibration protocol, and that is giving some erratic results. And we are using those results for framing our policies, giving our air quality index, and international bodies are using those data for giving their findings, etc. So one of the very important ones, we should improve the quality of our data. I think that's very important. Second one, the fourth one, sorry, is we are not monitoring all the parameters. Only we are monitoring PM10, carbon, PM10, SO2, NOx, and lead in most of the stations. We are not monitoring PM 2.5, carbon monoxide, benzene, benzoalpha pyring in almost 90% of the stations. So we have to gear up for measurement of these pollutants. Action plan for 126 critically polluted area, non-attendance cities have been prepared, which is approved also. But if you see the action plan, which will require a lot of improvement. I have seen some of the action plan prepared by the State Pollution Control Board. I think there's a lot of improvements are required on that. Based upon the scientific basis, this action plan to be prepared. Based upon the inventory and the monitoring, the modeling, and the source apportionment, and a proper air quality action plan to be prepared. Not the same thing which the prepared by CPCB, just copied the same thing is not proper. FGD is another issue. I have some reservation about this, about the emission standard which is framed for the thermal power station. But and the flue gas desulfurization installation will generate a lot of gypsum. I think we have not considered where the gypsum is going to be disposed. We are struggling still with the fly ash generated from the coal-based power station. With the FGD, a lot of gypsum will be generated. We don't know what to do. And also, my suggestion is that we don't require this FGD in the other than the power plant located in critically polluted area or the non-attendance cities. The general area, I don't think it is required because the SO2 and sulfate levels are quite low. So this is the policy makers on CPCB should consider. Solar power, wind power are required large parcel of land. Availability of land is one of the issues besides disposal of PVC cells. I think we should now consider after this life of the solar power is over, so where to dispose those wind power and these PVC cells, etc. Electric vehicle is a very good option, but we have to consider the battery, the lithium-ion battery, where it will come, the recycling part of this lithium-ion, which is very, very important, I think. Fly ash notification is very poorly implemented in our country. This is another big gap. Current GUI actions, I think beside this, the government of India have recently taken very good steps. I think this is the directly or indirectly controlling the air pollution. For example, the BS6 standards for fuel and vehicles, these very good things, and we are controlling the pollution at source with 10 ppm sulfur in diesel and petrol. Government policy on 30% vehicle fleet on electric vehicles, that is zero emission, is a very good step, I think. And I consider this very good steps taken by the various state governments like Karnataka, Delhi, etc., where they have issued their policy, the EV policy they have issued, and they are also announced that a lot of incentive, financial incentive they will give for the electric vehicles. NCAP has given a very good target, the 20 to 30% reduction, and this is moving well. Capping of the coal-based power plant. After 2022, it is decided that no new coal-based power station will come, and the existing very old power station will be phased out. I think this is a very good step. And government has taken very balanced view, because we are planning that 1,75,000 power energy will come from the solar and wind power. So we can eliminate that coal dependency on the coal-based power station, which is polluting in nature. And government has taken very right step to phasing out slowly the existing coal-based power station, which are old. 30% of energy will come from non-conventional energy by 2030. That is another very good program. FGD DNOx system, as I mentioned. Then promotion of solar power and wind power and biofuel. Promotion of mass transit system. Strict enforcement of standards in industry located in critically polluted area. I think thanks to the NGT orders, now it is a lot of regulatory bodies is taking a lot of steps to enforce the standard in industry located in critically polluted areas, which I have seen. Declaration of non-attainment cities, 126 number. Again, thanks to the NGT for putting pressure on the state government to prepare the action plan and implementing the action plan. Promoting the coal gasification. I think this is a very good program of government is running. 100 million tons of coal gasification projects. Large number of LPG cylinders. I think more than 5 crores people, families have given the LPG cylinder, and that is improving the rural area, the indoor air quality. I think this is a very good steps, and you see the indoor air quality improvements, are there, certainly is there. Specific action required for control of air pollution. I think most of the things I have already discussed. With the industrial air pollution, I think I want to emphasize that the VOC emission control for chemical industries, I think that is the requirement, and we should initiate industrial air pollution control, the VOC and other HAPs control from the industrial sector. For example, the polyaromatic emission control from the coke oven emission, DGZ emission, etc. I think is required. Vehicular pollution control, we should harp on the clean fuel, CNG, hydrogen CNG, hybrid vehicles. I think the clean transportation fuel is the key, which should go. Air quality monitoring, calibration, which we are not doing properly. Calibration protocol should come, very clear SOP should be developed, I think, and the calibration should be done properly, so that the quality data we should get for our policy framing. Suggestion for air quality improvement plan for NCR. I will just skip this one. Come to the National Clean Air Action Plan. I will just skip this one because most of them. Now I coming to the final recommendation. Inspection and maintenance of existing vehicles on road to be implemented as per recommendation of auto fuel policy. I think this is a very important one. We are not doing the proper thing for the in-use vehicle emission control. One of the key things for improving the air quality is to control the air pollution from the vehicles which are on road. This is not happening in cities like Delhi or Mumbai or Kolkata or Chennai, anywhere it is not happening. So we have to take an integrated approach, and as recommended by in the auto fuel policy, we should come out with the inspection and maintenance program. At least in non-attendance cities, 30% of the vehicles fleet should be electric vehicles. This will give the major impact on air quality improvement. CPCB may review the SO2 control things from the thermal power station standards, and only my personal recommendation is that only the power station located in critically polluted area should be asked to go for FGD. Otherwise, it is not required, because FGD has some after effects. It will generate a lot of solid waste, and we don't know how to deal with that. Air quality standard 2009, this time has come, we should review the standards, and already Indian Association for Air Pollution Control has taken arranged a workshop on this already, and they have many learned speakers have given their views on this. Then criteria for declaring CEPHA and non-attendance cities, I think time has come that we should review this thing with IITs. Emission for in-use DG set should be regulated. I think in-use DG sets are creating a lot of air pollution problems. I think this should be regulated. Calibration of air quality analyzers, calibration of manual stations, these are all required, and NPL has to play a very important role on this. Then immediate air quality improvement plan to achieve implementable air quality improvement plan to be prepared, I think. And in all the non-attendance cities, it should be based upon the scientific assessment. We should include the inventory of air pollutants, source apportionment study, air quality modeling, etc. Present the air quality improvement plan, which is prepared by the state pollution control boards and the state governments, I think requires some review. And I'm sure that the NCR region, the new commission will review those action plan once more before finalizing it and before implementing it. Health effects due to air pollution should be regularly studied. And I think medical institute also, medical doctors, I think they should also come in the board now, and they should help pollution control boards and authorities and Ministry of Environment with the health effect data. And that is very important in framing and revising the air quality standards. Hazardous air pollutant, especially the Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, etc. I think we should do it. Co-processing, as I mentioned, the cement plant is very important. I think we should improve it. Brick kiln located in Ganga Basin, I think they should switch over to zigzag technology. Already CPCB has recommended. In major polluted cities, use of coal in small boilers, etc. should be restricted. They can use gas as fuel. It has already been done in Delhi, I have been told. For location of polluting industries, zoning atlas concept should be followed. I think CPCB long ago has come out with a zoning atlas, and almost all the districts in the country, the zoning atlas has been prepared. Now we are coming back to that, and Honorable NGT has asked the carrying capacity batch approach should be followed. I think the zoning atlas, which is already prepared, have been prepared by CPCB for almost all the districts, should be considered for location of the polluting vehicles, polluting industries. This is very important. And all the reports are already available with CPCB. In low VC zone, high air pollution potential industry should be discouraged. And this is very important. While locating the industry, we should consider the meteorological aspects always. Emission control from SSI units by adopting proper pollution prevention and control technology should be adopted. For every SSI unit, CPCB has come out with the pollution prevention technologies. If you take the brick kiln, the stone crusher, the re-rolling mills, everywhere these things are there. So we should adopt this one. Now coming to my final conclusion and way forward, these are my personal views for air quality management. I think first thing, we should come out with a clear thing that in the mind of the people, if they should not consider whole India is polluted. No, it is not correct. 70% of the land area in Indian territories are not polluted with respect to PM 2.5, SO2, NOx and carbon monoxide. Generally, if you analyze this thing, generally values are well within the national standards. If you take the annual average values, this comprises of the northeast states, Himalayan states, forest areas, southern states, and coastal areas. Except few pockets, about 70% of the Indian territories are good air quality is there. That means good means they are generally meeting the air quality standard. Less than 30% of the area where and especially during the winter months, due to the low mixing height and calm wind condition, especially the Ganga basin, we are getting the high air pollution values. So we must understand this thing, that this is very limited time. October to December we are getting, October to January we are getting, and that is nothing we can do. These are the meteorological conditions. So we should not draw a conclusion that the air pollution is very high, the whole country is polluted and people are dying. Is not correct. Mass awareness program is required to inform the people, especially children, through their schools, etc., about the adverse meteorological conditions are generally responsible for winter pollution. Many international medical institutes are giving reported values of PM 2.5 data, which are extrapolated from PM10. I think that is required to be corrected, and we should monitor the PM 2.5 at least in all the manual stations, so that they should not extrapolate the data and take the correct actual PM 2.5 data. And this PM 2.5 data should be properly calibrated. For that, the SOP should be developed and it should be mandated by CPCB and NPL, so that the manual PM 2.5 instrument should be properly calibrated. Background air quality data, baseline data monitored during lockdown period, as I mentioned already. This we have to see and investigate the sources of PM 2.5 during the lockdown period. Maybe due to the local dust, resuspension of local dust, long range transport, etc., natural dust also. So this information is very important while framing our policy. People should understand we cannot control the pollution beyond this. What are the values of the baseline data we already got. So while framing the national air quality standard, revising the national standard, and framing the policies by the new commission, newly created commission, they should consider all this information, data. Then we should, for Government of India steps to mitigate air pollution are giving good results and should be further strengthened. One is that Bharat 6, State 6 fuel and vehicles all over India. I think we are not enforcing this thing all over India. I think we should do it quickly so that the pollution control at source should be practiced. More CNG, HCNG fuel for buses, trucks and commercial vehicles. Plan to introduce 30% electric vehicles. 1,75,000 megawatt of solar and wind power. Capping of coal-based power plant after 2022, phasing out the old power plants. LPG to household, especially in rural areas. Planning large coal gasification project, IGCC-based power generation, airshed-based approach to control air pollution, especially in Ganga basin states. Ventilation coefficient, land use, health effects-based national ambient air quality standards. More effective air pollution control from SSI units. Promoting PSR rate in cement plants by co-processing of industrial waste in cement plants. And waste to energy plant. More waste to energy plant for management of MSW and to reduce air pollution from dump sites. So these are the 11 or 12 steps which is already Government of India is taking. We have to strengthen those things. I think these are the very right step for control of air pollution, and in our air quality management plan in future. Now, whenever we plan in our new commission for the NCR region and all over India by the State Pollution Control Board and Central Pollution Control Board, they should consider all these things. So I'm stopping here. I've taken little more time, but I will be available for any questions or any clarification. And I once again thank Professor Shiva Nagendra and Professor Khare for giving me this opportunity to present some of my thoughts before all these relevant people like you people. Thank you very much.
Dr. Sengupta, thank you for a very wonderful lecture, and it was, very informative, very useful for many people, not only for the experts but also for all the young generation. You have given a complete, picture of the air pollution, starting from its source, effects, and also the possible solutions that can be helpful in controlling the air pollution in India. There are so many questions that are come up in the chat box, and first we will take up that. Then probably, if time permits, we will also, initiate some discussions. Maybe I'll just go through. Maybe just give you about some 2-3 minutes time, because you continuously you are presenting more than an hour. So I'll just take about 2-3 minutes time of you, and probably I will read the questions which is asked by many professionals. This is the first question from Dr. Saha. Yes, he is asked about is the medical fraternity confirmed that counts in India are based on the model outputs. So why government of India is not issuing regionally?
I think in our country, the medical fraternity, they are not confirming that much. I have never seen any confirmation from, say, government institute like All India Institute of Medical Sciences or PGI or Chittaranjan National Cancer Research Institute. They are confirming that so many deaths are due to the air pollution. I don't think it is there. But certainly air pollution is affecting health. But so many deaths, which is now reported by the international agencies, I don't think these are the correct. We have to consider in totality. There are deaths are due to some other malnutrition is another there, cancer is there, and then so many other diseases are there. People are dying. So it is not correct that we should pinpoint due to the air pollution so many people are dying, which the figures are reported by some of the international bodies.
So there's one question from the student, research student. What is the difference between critically polluted and severely polluted cities? So
Yes,
in terms of
critically polluted area, the criteria is formed by IIT Delhi, and they considered now the CPCB is considering what are the air pollution level, what are the water pollution level, how much air pollution and water pollution is affecting the population there. They are collecting the data from the health institutes. There are the hospitals and nursing home, etc. Data are collected. Then also the soil and hazardous waste generation, how they're disposing it, what is the soil quality, what is the groundwater quality. Everything is considered in that, and then the area is classified by giving some numbers. If his number is more than 70, then it is coming classified as a critically polluted area. And some drastic measures are taken that no more expansion of the industry in that area. If the CEPHA index is more than 70, if the CEPHA index between 60 and 70, then it is considered a severely polluted area, and then some restriction on that. But these are all being reviewed now. I think Ministry of Environment and Forest has constituted a new committee. They are reviewing the CPA criteria. And CPCB and SPCB are monitoring the environment quality in the CPA in a more meaningful way. They are considering that beside the criteria pollutants, they are monitoring the VOC and other HAPs also in those areas, and to come out with a refined critically polluted area. And I personally visited some of the critically polluted area like Chandrapur and Singrauli and Ankleshwar, etc. And I've seen there is a lot of improvement, because from last 30 years I'm visiting those areas. So now from last 4 or 5 years I've seen there's a lot of improvements are there. For example, some of the area like Ankleshwar, they have totally put off the coal. No more coal is burned. All is gas-based energy. This coal steam generation and power generation is based on gas. So there are no visible emission. They have put lot of restriction on the VOC emission. They put all the condenser, steam condenser before their MEE. So all these things have been in practice now in the chemical industry zone also to reduce the VOC emission. But unfortunately, we are not monitoring and quantifying those pollution levels properly. So that is the problem. And the historical data are not available. If you do the monitoring now, VOCs also, we cannot compare that what was the VOC, say in 2005 or 2004, and what is the VOC now. So that type of comparison is not possible. But we have done a recently study about the solvent recovery. One pollutant I will say, the solvent recovery in the chemical industry zone. We have found that the solvent recovery have been increased tremendously, and there are about 60 to 70% reduction in the solvent consumption. So that means indirectly we are controlling the VOC emissions. So this type of things are there. So critically polluted area is based upon those studies have been identified by CPCB and SPCB, and there are strict control over the pollution control in those industries located in critically polluted area.
There's a question from Dr. Madhusudan from former
My colleague, yes.
officer. So his question is, although government, taken several actions to strengthening the air quality management issues. Why there is advisors or regulators are not advocating government to set up research funds for air pollution studies? Such funds are important for correlation studies with health impacts and development of low-cost sensors, calibration, etc. So he just needs some comment from you based on your experience.
Yes, I think this is a very important thing, and CPCB is now flooded with the funds. NGT put a lot of fines and environmental compensation, so a lot of funds are available. And I have been told that CPCB is now opening a research and development institute also in CPCB, associated with CPCB to do all type of research. And CPCB, Dr. Mukesh Khare knows, he is a core committee member. He knows that the lot of funds are given now to the institute, IITs and NEERI and TERI, etc. for development of the low-cost sensors, and NPL for the development of the protocol for the calibration. All things are happening. So because now CPCB's fund position is markedly improved, so they are giving a lot of funds to the institute. During my time, my total budget was only 20 crore or 30 crore. So 90% of fund was used for the giving the salary of the people. So hardly any money left for carrying out the project during my time. But now CPCB is flooded with the funds because the environmental compensation is coming in lakhs, in crores. So there is no dearth of fund. And also government Ministry of Environment is giving a lot of funds to the State Pollution Control Board. I've been told that the State Pollution Control Board is not able to use the funds. Because CPCB has opened this thing, if you have any research proposal or if you want to do any research, you take the fund from, and most of the State Pollution Control Board are not taking those funds. So I have been told by CPCB as well as SPCB that they are not using those funds. So I don't consider to Dr. Madhusudan, he knows all these things, that there is a dearth of funds now. Only thing is that we require manpower to do this thing. And there is another issue. In the State Pollution Control Board and even in Central Pollution Control Board, very few people working in the field of air pollution control or air quality assessment. During my time in CPCB, only 4 and 5 people were used to work on air quality. Prashant is one, Dr. Shaha was one, Dr. Tyagi was one, like 4 or 5 people. In the State Pollution Control Board is even poor. Hardly 1 or 2 people. If you go to the State Pollution Control Board and give a suggestion that I want to discuss with the air quality person, you will not get the person. Some people will come who is doing the water pollution control, CES, and all the NOC, and he is also doing some air pollution thing. So we should have strengthen the pollution control board also. And for that, I have given a scheme that immediately we should recruit at least 200 good scientists and engineers for all over India through a very good selection process. And it should be manned by IITs and NEERIs and all these people. They should recruit these 200 plus people, train them, and then post in the various state control board. This is very minimal requirement. If you want to do any proper air pollution control activity, require proper air quality action plan, then you require good people, good trained people. That is missing. So IITs and TERI and NEERI, they have the people. So why? So they should give those train and technical skill manpower to the pollution control boards. So unless they are strengthened, what is happening? Because the people are not there, State Pollution Control Board is transferring this work to some agencies, like some private laboratories or say some institute, some engineering college, etc. And the situation is very bad. So strengthening of the people is, I think, is very important. Everyone is agreeing, but this is not happening. So CPCB is running the show with the very junior scientific assistant and research associate. They are joining and working in CPCB for 2 years, 3 years, then leaving because there is no permanent position. So we have to bring a cadre on air pollution, cadre on water pollution, cadre on hazardous waste, cadre on remediation. Now there is so many areas CPCB has to work. NGT is giving every day some new work. So where are the people who will work? So I think this is the high time that CPCB and SPCB should be properly strengthened. Okay, so then only the thing will improve. Otherwise, only fund you give to State Pollution Control Board, they will return after the end of the year because they will not able to spend the money. So this is my view.
Yeah, there is a question from Professor Kare. So, for example, no matter what fuel we use, the problem of NOx pollution still exists. Even we use a CNG-driven vehicle, or NOx emissions are still high. What fuel policy the government must come out to deal with NOx emissions from vehicles?
The NOx is coming mainly from the three major sources. One is that the vehicles. Vehicles up to Bharat stage 4, the NOx standard is so relaxed. So NOx, for example, in Delhi, high NOx is reason, and high ozone also is due to the NOx, which is coming from the tailpipe of the vehicles, especially the old vehicles, especially for the diesel vehicles. Diesel vehicles are emitting much more NOx than the petrol-driven vehicles, number one. You see, Delhi, every day there are so many vehicles, trucks are entering. A rough estimate is that 40,000 trucks are entering Delhi during the night time. Now they are bypassing Delhi, but they are entering and then polluting the Delhi's air with high NOx and black soot particles. Second source of pollution is the thermal power plant. In the NCR region, there are 11 coal-based power stations are there, which are emitting a lot of NOx. There is no control of NOx. They are emitting a lot of NOx and polluting the atmosphere with NOx. Third one is DG sets. There are in NCR region, there are 5 lakhs DG sets are there, which are emitting uncontrolled NOx. We are talking about the 70% scrubbing efficiency, which is scrub the SO2 only. NOx will be there. So NOx major sources are 3. Unless we control these sources of pollution, NOx will be there. And NOx, if you see the data, is almost touching the standards, short-term standard. Long-term is not, but short-term standard they are touching. And NOx is also responsible for ozone formation. So we should be very careful about the NOx.
So there is a question from Raju, EVR. I think you may be knowing him very well. So his question is having 2 questions. One, do we have a pollution zoning at last for the whole country?
Yeah.
And his second question, can we use a sensor in the village level so that the air quality management can be effectively informed to the public? So what's your comment?
The first question, I think zoning atlas, yes, all the district, as I mentioned, is available with CPCB. And now the major thrust is given by NGT. NGT has asked to CPCB and MOEF that they should follow the carrying capacity in all the critically polluted area while granting the environmental clearance. I think Dr. Mukesh Khare knows because he is a member of EAC. Now the directive is there that EAC also will consider carrying capacity based clearance. Now if you start doing the carrying capacity, it will take a lot of time. I think minimum 2 years, 3 years time it is there. So why not? My view is that why not use the zoning atlas? Already the zoning atlas district-wise data are available, reports are available. The regional zoning atlas are available. All the informations are available. We should use it for our environmental industry siting and environmental clearance purpose. Second one is the environmental sensors for low-cost sensors. I think this is a very good approach. But one thing is that the CPCB and MOEF in its ambient air quality standard already notified the method of measurement. I think CPCB first review and see that the performance of these low-cost sensors, and if they are satisfied, then it should be included in the ambient air quality standard, this notification that this low-cost sensor based upon this principle is also a recommended way of method of measurement. Unless we do that, it will not be tenable under the law. Because the ambient air quality, which is given in Air Act 1981, is a regulatory thing. It is the ambient air quality standard. In water, we are telling water quality objective. But in air, it is the air quality standard, ambient air quality standard. We have used the word term standard. So in the standard, if you fix given the method of measurement and notified it, for example, SO2, we are notified the pulse fluorescence and Western Geikie method. 2 methods we have notified. There is no third method. So if you want to do the sensor based, which is very good, I have been told that the sensor based equipment is costing about very, very less compared to the online monitoring system, which CPCB and SPCB are using. If it is good, if it is give a good, reasonably comparable values, it is 5 to 10% deviation is allowed, because when we are much above than the standard, hardly 5 to 10% variation matters. Then the CPCB should take a call on this and come out with the principle of the low-cost sensor measurement, whether it is a satellite-based, whether it is a radar-based, whether it is other sensor-based, because in market is now flooded with the low-cost sensors. So CPCB has should take a call and then notify this thing in their air quality standard, method of measurement.
Sir, again, there is another interesting question from Professor Karev. He is asked, during the lockdown, many cities, the ambient air quality has been improved. Can we consider this as an background concentrations for each of these cities? And probably, can we also look at it, the kind of control measures or implementation could be possible in order to improve the air quality?
Can repeat it? I just missed that one. First,
so the question, Professor Karev's question is, during the lockdown, many cities, the air quality has been improved. So should we look at this as a background concentration, because many activities have been shut down during this period, and it has been modified. So can we look at that as a background concentration? And the second part of the question is asked, will it be possible to look at it the same kind of an implementation to converting to the air quality management policy?
I think CPCB during their annual day released a document in which they have given all over India the background level of pollution, and from that data I have taken in one of my slides. And also the DPCC and this IICAQM, based upon the Delhi's 38 stations, they have come out with the baseline data. I think these data are very, very useful, because so far this type of data were not available in our country. During my time, I used to try to get what is the background, but nobody was to, because every time all the operation is on. So I think certainly CPCB, because that is a long-term, April to May, these 2 months data are there. Certainly we should consider this is a background data, is the bare minimum thing which we can expect. And the measures which we have taken, that the closing down all the industry, etc., is not feasible, because we cannot close each and every industry. Some of the industry should run, but there are certainly best options are available to control the pollution now. And also some new measures, like 10 measures which the government of India has already initiated. Certainly that will certainly reduce the pollution. Also, we have not studied that if you take the 100%, these 11 measures which the government of India has already initiated, how much reduction of pollution load and how much reduction in pollution concentration will be there. I think that is a good exercise which I think somebody should do it. But I am sure that 30 to 40% of the existing air pollution will be reduced if you take the properly those 11 measures, like the 30% of the electric vehicles, like your 1,95,000 megawatt of the solar and wind power, like 100 million ton of coal gasification and IGCC based power plant using the gas. These are the various things, very important things which the government has already initiated. Why not take those things first? And also now for large scale industry, CPCB and MOEF has come out with very good control system. For example, if a coal-based power station or say a refinery or for a steel plant, the standard is made stringent, and the people are more aware of what type of control systems are required. They are asking the efficacy of the pollution control system. There are a lot of opportunity in energy efficiency, which I think as a pollution control board we have so far not considered. The energy efficiency things are very important for considering the reduction of pollution load. I am sure, Dr. Khare, that if we consider all these issues, then certainly the background level we cannot achieve, but certainly the far better air quality we can expect.
Another follow-up question with Professor Khare is: can we, can we enhance the application of models? The data which is available, can it be made using for simulation purpose, so that the more and more informations will be available to the public and also for the policymakers. So this is another question which Professor Kare has also indicated that what is the role of models?
Air quality models.
Should we initiate that more extensively in India so that it will be beneficial for both research as well as policymakers?
I think in the field of air quality modeling, lot of new things have come. During my days, the first modeling was done in the Mathura refinery to see the impact of Mathura refinery emission on Taj Mahal. I think Dr. B.P. Murthy, who was the IMD, Director IMD, he has done the modeling work, and we have learned the modeling from him, Dr. Murthy. After that, I think lot of improvement, Dr. Mukesh Khare, Dr. Mukesh Sharma, and all the many learned people have done remarkably good work on the air quality modeling. But the issue is that the ground truthing of these models. You see, sometimes we read the papers or the reports that in Singrauli area, the modeling, air quality modeling shows these values, and when we put the high volume, the measurement, actual measurement, long-term measurement over that area, the values are varying from 50 to say 70%. So then our confidence is a little bit shaken when the actual monitoring, because if you see all the EIA studies, while taking the environmental clearance, the air quality modeling is done. And when the project is in place and as per the EMP, the monitoring is done, if you see exactly that place, there's a lot of variations out there. I think the models, improvement of the models and the ground truthing is very, very important to develop the confidence among the policy, the regulators, that these modeling results are correct or can be used for that purpose. Otherwise, modeling, I think a lot of people are doing a lot of modeling now. A lot of improvements are there in modeling field. Certainly, it is useful.
Sir, Professor Kare also wanted to see, like, since if the activities can be minimum, can we use this background data as an input to the model? And then maybe model accuracy can also be, experimented. So that's a
yes. I think Dr. Khare should refer to the CPCB document, because the official document released by CPCB, and all over India during the lockdown period, the air quality data they have given. Maybe it is some state board data, but once the CPCB has issued any official publication, that data certainly can be used for this purpose.
Yeah, sir, we have two questions from, we have two international participants. There are several international participation. Dr. Hanil Namadev, asked a question. What do you think of the role of citizens in air pollution management? Their roles are often ignored and unaccounted.
Yeah. I think this is a very important question. Anilji, thank you so much. I think role of public, and in my presentation also I mentioned that the people awareness, mass awareness is very important. People don't know. Whenever the winter comes, they have started blaming regulatory bodies without understanding the things. I think the mass awareness program in a very, very big way should be started, especially in the schools, because when the children will be educated about all these things, then they will tell this thing to their parents, and parents believe the children's views always. So I think like the winter pollution, role of meteorology, air quality modeling, this sensor-based monitoring equipment, all these things, knowledge and information, air pollution and effect on health, everything should be through the mass awareness program in a very big way, should be given to the whole population in general and the schools in particular, so that the people should know. For example, now everybody is blaming regulatory bodies without understanding the reason for the winter pollution. If you open the newspaper, the front page says that it has not done, from last 30 years, nothing has been done. But people should know, media also should know that the winter pollution is due to the meteorological condition. What pollution control board can do it? We cannot blame always the stubble burning or the vehicles or industrial emission, always not. Because the mixing height is low, there is no wind speed, there is a calm condition, wind is not blowing, and pollution are a trap. These things they should know in a simple way. I think we should educate, and the mass awareness program should be introduced in a big way. And this commission, I think they have kept a provisions there, that is in NCR region, this awareness program should be there.
So there is another international participant question. Please, this is Jo Barnes from University of West of England from Bristol. She asked, please could you comment on the difficulties of implementation of air quality action plans you identified?
Yes, I think air pollution action plan is based upon the non-attainment cities. Non-attainment cities is based upon the air quality measurement in our country. And I have some doubts and some reservation about the air quality data used for the calculation of the air quality non-attainment cities, number one. Second one, the non-attainment cities action plan prepared by the state government and state pollution control board based upon the CPCB guideline. And those guidelines have been used, and because there's a pressure from the NGT, they have very quickly prepared without any scientific assessment. There is no inventory. There is no source apportionment study. There is no monitoring. Nothing has been done as some of the action plan which is prepared by CPCB, that is generally that has followed and prepared something. CPCB's core committee also in hurry or all on pressure, they have approved it, and this thing. Now whose responsibility is to implement? Now the implementation responsibility is to the state government, and state government is supposed to appoint a committee headed by chief secretary. Chief secretary has very little time for all these things. So he will delegate this thing to the environment secretary. Environment secretary will sit with pollution control board and try to implement. And then the implementation will be an issue, very major issue in the state. So I think we should refine this air quality action plan further based upon the current knowledge or information which we have, and give a practical, implementable action plan. Not like that, whatever, if you open any action plan, what is there? You have to use the Bharat 6 fuel. It is there. It is what is new in that. You have to do inspection and maintenance, but they are not given the details of what type of inspection and maintenance program is required. PUC is not the inspection and maintenance. Then you have to ban some fuels. So they will unnecessarily ban some fuels which is not required also. So that create lot of unnecessary harassment to the industry. They will reduce the, say, particulate matter emission from 150 to 100 to 50 to 30. Now they're talking about 10, which is not practically not possible. So this type of impractical standard, they will start giving this thing. So that is the problem, because it is not enough application of mind is given to preparation of the action plan. I'm very blunt and this thing, but kindly excuse me, but this is happening.
So there's another interesting question from Dr. Sushil K. Tyagi. Please elaborate the status of zigzag technology adapted for brick kilns and construction of brick kilns in NCT Delhi air pollution control. Further, what do you think we hired in order to reduce the emissions coming from the brick kiln?
Okay. Zigzag technology is the technology developed by many agencies. CPCB, I think 20 years ago, has come out with a brick kiln standard in which the clean technologies have been developed with the center, this Roorkee University and Central Building Research Institute, IIT Roorkee jointly developed those technology. It was implemented, it was given a demonstration in one of the plant at Roorkee, the brick kilns, and it was successfully demonstrated, this technology, and then it is adopted, and in the points document of the brick kiln issued by CPCB, you can find out that the details of the zigzag technology is given. This is a good technology. We can reduce the black smoke emission due to the burning of the coal from the brick kilns, adopting the zigzag technology. And there are some other technologies also, but now because CPCB has recommended this technology and NGT has endorsed this technology, it has become the law of the land that the Ganga Basin brick kilns should go for zigzag technology. But there are so many other technologies by which we can achieve the standard. I think in the brick kill things, we have given the emission standard of particulate matter. And with all the respect to my learned colleagues, it is the requirement of that meeting of the standard should be there, not how you are going to meet the standard. There are many technologies. For example, the power plant emission, particulate emission, we can control it by achieve the standard by putting a back filter, by putting a ESP, by putting a hybrid system, ESP and back filter. But why we should ask the industry to put only back filter or put only ESP? We should give the standard only, which is a economically viable thing. So that is the policy generally adopted by CPCB while framing the standard. No technology, only the standard. But in the COAS document, we should discuss all the technology. That is the general principle we used to follow for development of the standard. Breakage it is possible.
Yeah, I have another very interesting question, which is also happening in Delhi now. So there is a question from Professor Kare again. He talks, he's asking about why this the smog tower. So what do you comment on a recent decision on
I think already lot of articles have come, and certainly as a scientist and working in the field of air quality management from last 40 years, generally I don't support this type of thing. It will, impact will be very less, very less. I have seen in Lajpat Nagar the smoke tower which is working. Hardly any impact is there, hardly any impact. And now the big smoke tower is coming in Connaught Place by Delhi government, and other things are coming. There is Honorable Supreme Court order is also there. I don't want to comment it, but my personal feeling is that it will not give a major impact on air quality reduction. I think it will. I should not comment it, but there will be not major impact. We have to control the pollution, not in the ambient scale. It is not possible. We have experience of China. China, they have stopped now. Nowhere in the world it is practiced.
So there's one question from the student again, research student asked, how do we control NOx, regarding NOx emission from all sources rather than fuel? Should we not look at it, the application of some control technologies in reducing the NOx pollution?
You see, as I mentioned, the major NOx emitter is the vehicles. And if you see the Bharat State 6 standards, which recommend that the SCR technology to be bring in for NOx control. And the Bharat State 6 standards is already notified. And it is enforced. So the vehicles which are compliant to the Bharat State 6, which will be registered from this year onwards, should have a SCR-based technology to control the NOx. That is the only technology, as far as I know, it is both for power plant and both for vehicles. The SCR technology is only requirement. But recently, the Ministry of Environment has changed the NOx limit. They have little relaxed the NOx limit. Now the low NOx burner will be sufficient to meet the standards. There is no requirement of SCR in the case of coal-based power plant. And the vehicles, because there are a large number of electric vehicles are being planned and all sort of things are happening. So I don't know how many Bharat State 6 vehicles with SCR things will come. Now the SIM is also trying that when you are relaxed the standard for power plant, why not to us also? But the feasible technology, what somebody has asked, is only the SCR as far as I know. And all over the world, the vehicles are equipped with the SCR technology to control the NOx. And NOx is very important parameters. It is also important for us because, as I mentioned, we are almost touching the short-term NOx standards with the NOx levels are almost touching the NOx standards.
Sir, there are so many questions are coming. I'm just limiting 2 more questions. So I just to look at it or summarize the entire this interesting lecture. One question is from VK Shukla from again from the Pollution Control Board. Should we categorize the non-attainment regions apart from non-attainment cities based on the standardized criteria?
That is the CPCB's policy. The non-attainment cities, they have taken the 5 years data they have considered. If the one polluted is exceeded, then that is considered as a non-attainment cities. CEPHA-based critically polluted area. CEPHA is considering all the things: air pollution, water pollution, hazardous waste, soil pollution, ground pollution, health impacts, health effects of the pollution. Everything is considered while declaring the critically polluted area based upon CEPHA index, which Professor Khare and Professor Nima has given to us. On basis of that, it is done. But the non-attainment cities is only based upon the air quality data, and I have some reservation, as I mentioned, about the manual data of air quality collected by some of the state pollution control groups.
Again, I have two more questions to ask you. First, let me take, and I have my own question. I thought I will put you at the last. So this is again from the Professor Mukesh Kar. He has just mentioned, he has asked, should we consider the non-attainment declaration based on PM10, not on PM2.5? So if that is the main drawback, and what is why we should so many number of cities under non-attainment? So do we declare non-attainment area based on PM10 or 2.5, and then why do we have so many numbers?
I think if you choose between PM10 and PM2.5, certainly PM2.5 is more meaningful, because health impact of PM2.5 is much more than the PM10. So PM10, I think if you want to choose between two pollutants, then PM2.5 is more meaningful. But I think non-attainment cities, we should considering the ECOC and metals now. It is difficult because the data is not available, but it is more practical because these are the man-made sources, number one. And these are more ECOC and metals, heavy metals present in the air are more affecting the health of the people. So we should consider, if you want to declare as a non-attainment city, then these things. But I think we have to do a lot of work on this before arriving those things. But to answer Professor Khare's thing, that PM2.5 is certainly better than PM10.
So this is from as a last question from my side.
Yes.
Based on, like, you have, all of you have worked extensively. Still, this is the question which is always comes to my mind. I thought I will just wanted some answer from you. This monitoring station, the purpose of monitoring stations, generally they consider it as for the, regular bringing the standards, or maybe to make an assessment. But why are these monitoring stations become fixed? Because when we identify the problem, if the particular area or a particular location is non-attainment, it is not meeting the requirement. So our role is to improve that particular air quality. Then the monitoring station has to shift from that, because we have improved that air quality in that particular area. So this is some question which is always comes to my mind. Should we have an air quality monitoring station fixed, or it should be moved for a particular period, and our goal is to improve the air quality in that particular area, then we move the monitoring stations to the next location? And I need your comment.
It's a very broad area. First thing I mentioned that I fully agree, and I always tell this thing: setting up a monitoring station, doing monitoring is not pollution control, air pollution control. We have to do the control. Our former chairman, Dr. Dilip Biswas, used to take pollution control board is doing monitoring and mourning. So what is the use of this? Huge data. Now we have the 700 or 800 stations, 1,000 stations, and the industry, because the EC condition, there are also maintaining 1,000 stations. So much of data is generated. Whether it is a good data, bad data, that is separate part. But the data is generated. Who is using those data? Then all the 2,000 EIA reports we are preparing, the baseline data we are collecting, doing. Who are using those data? So these data, I think there is no quality checks, etc. Second one is the location of the monitoring stations required changes, because many locations are not as per the guidelines of CPCB or as per the guidelines of UNEP, etc. So those things require a lot of changes. Location of the stations. And third thing, you have mentioned rightly that based upon the air quality monitoring station data, we should adopt the pollution control thing. We have to improve the air quality. For that, control options will frame and implement, regulate those things so that air quality is improved. Once it is improved, We can keep few stations for the baseline type of data or background data, otherwise station should be moved, because we can save a lot of money by doing that. But nowadays practice is that air pollution control means air quality monitoring. If you ask any regulatory body, what are you doing for air pollution control? Sir, we have increased 300 stations. We are planning for 500 stations. So that means pollution monitoring becomes pollution control. So which is not correct. If you ask any very senior officer, bureaucrats, and even political people, they also give the same answer. Now we have increased, we have asked CPCB to increase the number of stations from this to this. Does it mean that increasing the number of stations will improve the air quality? No. Monitoring is important, but proper monitoring, quality data, and then beside this, we should improve the air quality management by proper air pollution control thing, which we are lacking very badly.
Thank you very much for your insight, sir. I just request everyone to just open your camera. We will try to take a picture to put it in the, actually this will be going to the website, and probably we wanted to, publicize this. Please, I request all of you just open your, start your camera. Anju, please take a picture once everybody's camera is on.
Okay, sir.
Sorry, just for a minute, you please.
All are very happy.
Krishna Kanal, can you just open the camera? Okay, Anju, you can just take a picture and maybe. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So now I just wanted to say, actually, we are very grateful to Dr. Sengupta and in particular Professor Kare to initiate this particular air quality management lecture series. Considering the lockdown, we were not in a position to personally honor and give memento to Dr. B. Sengupta through Professor Kare. But we will find some time immediately of once the lockdown, this kind of situation is over, we will definitely hand over a memento, particularly maybe we'll go to this place and hand over the mementos to him on behalf of air quality management lecture series. And thank you very much, sir, because this is the first lecture we started, and we will start rolling this lecture every month, and probably we will try to identify some expert speaker who are going to talk about, bring some new ideas, new knowledge, motivate young researcher. The idea of this platform is to, more importantly, to bring more awareness to the young minds, particularly in the country, and take more research, and that will help in improving the air quality. So I'll take this opportunity to thank all the people. I'm very happy to see all the experts, including industries, Gupta ji, Raju, Shah, Madhusudan sir, and many international participants. They are participated in this particular event and taking the time. And thank you very much to all of you. I think we will look forward to the next lecture. We will going to announce it very soon. We will identify some speaker, and then we will also circulate to everybody. And again, we will look forward your kind participation the same way in improving the air quality in India and making the air better for healthy living. Thank you very much.
Namaskar, sir.
Thanks very much, Gupta ji sir and Sengupta sir. Thanks very much. Thank you, Anju, for organizing all these things, because he is the research student who has helped in organizing all the event, and also for the supporting this come from CEPHA network. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Thank you all. Namaste.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.